Hi, my name is Israni, and I'm applying to Dev Bootcamp. I live in New York City. I graduated from Pace University in downtown Manhattan with a major in finance and a double minor in gender studies and economics. I've been working at Bank of America Merrill Lynch since 2007 on their fixed income trading floor. And last year, in 2012, I recently started a company called Zorab with my sister. Zorab is an online retailer and monthly subscription service for men's fashion socks. And, building up the website for Zorab, I've really become very drawn to programming as an industry. And I really like the way that Dev Bootcamp promotes a very intensive yet collaborative environment that's very conducive for your students to really absorb everything that you teach. But right now, I really just want to pivot my career into software engineering. I think all the fascinating and exciting things that are happening in today's world really just have one common denominator, and that's coding. And I feel like the world becoming more and more digitized is becoming the major story of our time right now. And as all the facets of our everyday lives are becoming increasingly driven by software and applications, it really provides a very compelling and exciting opportunity to come and work in technology. I really want to be a driver of this change. I want to build software, I want to build applications and interfaces, and that's what I hope to learn at Dev Bootcamp. So for my next component of my application, I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about a pretty controversial aspect of Wall Street. So everyone is all too familiar with the financial crisis of 2008. And a lot of people out there are very quick to offer solutions in order to prevent any future crises from happening, from governments to academics to the people on Occupy Wall Street. I was fortunate, or unfortunate enough, to be working at Bank of America in the very division that many people blame to be as a catalyst for the crisis, a division known as credit derivatives. One of the products that I work with is called credit default swaps, also known as CDS. And this particular product is also very much to blame for why such highly respected companies like Lehman Brothers and AIG went bankrupt in a matter of days. So I'm going to walk you through a pretty simplified example of how a CDS works. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you. So let's consider a hypothetical situation. Lisa wants to start a lemonade stand in her neighborhood. But in order to start her lemonade stand, she needs about $20 to fund her startup costs. So she decides to borrow about $20 from her brother Larry. In return, she will pay Larry a nickel in interest every single week until 1 year from now. She pays him the full principal of the loan. So let's recap the terms of Lisa's loan with Larry. The loan amount, also known as the loan principal in this case, is $20. Lisa will pay Larry 5 cents every single week in interest. And after 1 year, Lisa will pay Larry back the full loan amount, or principal, which in this case is $20. So it's 6 months later, and Lisa's stand is struggling. She's not making any profit and is barely able to keep up with her interest payments. There is serious doubt that she will ever be able to pay back her loan. So naturally, Larry is very worried, especially since he knows that in 6 months, he definitely needs that $20 since there's a new video game coming out that he really wants to buy. So what does Larry do? He decides to enter into a CDS agreement with his friend Joe. So this is the agreement. Larry will pay Joe 3 cents every week. In return, Joe will reimburse Larry for any losses that may be incurred as a result of Lisa not being able to pay back her loan. So let's say that Lisa's business continues to deteriorate, and ultimately she has to file for bankruptcy and liquidate her company's assets. As a consequence, she's only able to pay Larry back 30% of the original loan principal. So in this case, that's only $6. In that event, Joe will have to come along and give Larry the difference. So in this case, $14. Fortunately, our story has a happy ending. 6 months later, Lisa's business is completely turned around and is doing much better than ever before. She is able to pay Larry back the principal on the loan. Larry paid Joe 3 cents every week, while Joe did not have to pay for any losses, so he is happy too. Ultimately, though, the winner of our story here is Larry, since he was able to collect 5 cents from Lisa and only paid 3 cents to Joe. So he was able to keep a spread of 2 cents for himself while completely insulating himself against all credit risk. So that was a pretty simplified example of how CDSs work, but for most people it leads to the common question, what's the point? What if we simply got rid of Larry from this arrangement and then just had Joe lend Lisa the money directly? Then this agreement would just be a regular old loan. Well, to illustrate why CDSs are so widely used, I'm going to use a hypothetical example. So you have two CEOs, the CEO of Citigroup and the CEO of General Electric. So they've known each other since business school. They play golf together, they have dinners together. Overall, they have a really great relationship. So one day, the CEO of General Electric approaches the CEO of Citi and asks for a line of credit. At that point, Citigroup doesn't have any capacity to lend any more money, since they just lent so much money the day before to other borrowers. So what does the CEO of Citi do? He can, A, refuse to lend the money to GE, but if he did that, then he risks losing out on that business to a competitor for this loan and maybe even the next loan after that. Or alternatively, he can just lend the money to the CEO of GE and then find a third party to enter into a CDS agreement, just like Larry did with Joe, and therefore insulating themselves from any credit risk. So this is a great example of how CDSs are used and why they're so used to basically maintain client relationships, banking relationships, and also manage credit risk. In theory, it's supposed to lead to a more stable banking system, but as we've seen, it hasn't been always the case. So this concludes my application to Dev Bootcamp. Please let me know if you have any questions at all further outlining my background. Thank you.